In Australia, we love our seafood, and I'm no different. But how much do we really know about where our seafood comes from? I'm going on a journey to investigate the truth about Australia's seafood.
I'll be looking at the impact of our addiction to 4 key species. Prawns.
A whole ecosystem in the tubs around me, and all in the name of prawn farming.
Sharks.
That makes you feel desolate.
Salmon.
Just a few of the 12,000 fish that are going to die today on this boat.
Tuna.
This is the slaughterhouse of the sea.
Save the environment, you gotta save the environment. It sounds good.
So you don't believe the science?
No, it's nonsense.
I'll challenge a pizza chain about the prawns they use.
Tracy, I think I've been leaving messages for you. You never return my calls.
I'll try to entice the top restaurants to prove they care about our oceans.
You pride yourselves on having sustainable seafood on the menu?
It's a hard one, isn't it?
And I'm starting a campaign to ensure we are all better informed.
I don't have to tell you what that fish is.
No.
Legally.
Right.
But we need to find a way that we get the majority support in the Parliament so we can actually make this happen.
The problems are complex and shocking, but we can all be part of the solution. I want to show you how. Fish and chips, 2 types, Thai prawns. When we buy seafood, we need to ask, what's the catch? What's the catch? What's the catch? What's the catch? It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it.
I've been a chef, a restaurant critic, and now I've spent the last 6 years learning how to produce my own food here on the farm. It's been tough work, but now I know where most of my food is from. But just down the road is the ocean. Uncharted waters for me. Now I'm on a mission to find out where our seafood comes from.
I'll slip an extra shrimp on the barbie for you.
The prawn, an Australian icon. We simply love them. And we Australians guzzle over 50,000 tonnes of prawns a year, making them, after salmon, our most popular seafood. But what are the consequences of our addiction to prawns? Firstly, I need to find out where they come from. Where better to start finding out than the local pub here in Tassie?
Just after a feed of prawns. You got prawns?
We have got prawns there, sir, in the seafood section there.
Oh, yeah. Creamy garlic or crumb. I might go the crumbed prawns. Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you know where the prawns are from?
Yeah, they're from Thailand, sir.
From Thailand. Look at this, the classic Aussie prawn in the classic Aussie pub. But this prawn's come all the way from Thailand. It's like finding out that, like Skippy's French or something.
What about the big supermarkets? Where are their prawns from?
Big large box of cooked prawns. This one's a product of Thailand.
Many of the packaged prawns are from Asia.
They're even in these Woolies Select prawn cutlets. See there? Product of Thailand.
What about the big pizza chains like Domino's and Pizza Hut? What prawns are they serving on their pizzas? The store staff couldn't tell me, so I'm calling the head office to find out where they source their prawns.
PR person from Domino's Pizza.
Hi, it's Tracy from
Voice mail.
Pizza. Sorry, I missed your call.
Yeah, g'day Tracy, it's Matthew Evans calling.
The switchboard is temporarily unattended.
Thank you for calling Retail Food Group Limited. The office is open Monday.
I don't seem to be able to get to any people. Just a message for Jacinta. It's Matthew Evans calling.
Hi, this is Chris Sells, for marketing. Please.
It's Matthew Evans. Give me a call back. You can call me back. Yeah, can you just let her know that Matthew Evans called? Well, that's not going well. I've rung Domino's, Pizza Hut, Crust, Sumo Salad and Sizzler. Haven't spoken to a single soul who can help me. I've been leaving messages for weeks. I'm starting to wonder if they even want to engage with this as a topic. Who's next?
Domino's have over 700 stores across Australia, and over 2 million of us eat their pizzas every month. So I think it's fair enough to ask where they get their prawns. After 2 months of chasing, I eventually get an email back saying they source their prawns from Thailand. So that's my local pub, the 2 biggest supermarkets, and the biggest pizza chain, all using prawns from Thailand. If I want to know more about the prawns we eat, it's clear where I need to go. Remarkably, over 70% of all the seafood we eat in Australia comes from overseas. It's produced out of sight and out of mind.
If 70% of our seafood comes from overseas, a lot of it would come from here in Thailand, especially shrimp. And most of us would have no clue how they're produced, and that's a real problem.
At first sight, Thailand's prawn farming industry is a success story. Hundreds of prawn farms like these export more prawns than any other country in the world. The pressure to provide the world with prawns means they are farmed intensively. Blue sunscreen is heaped into the ponds to stop the prawns from overheating. And there's a history here of heavy antibiotic use to combat the spread of disease.
They harvest prawns about dusk, so I've just heard about a farm up the road that we're hoping that's going to be harvesting tonight, so I'm going to give it a crack.
The Banijay prawns, or white shrimp as they're known, grow to full size in 3 months, which means Thai prawn farmers can harvest several times a year. By contrast, farmed Australian tiger prawns can only be harvested once a year. This is intensive industrial farming, but done by hand. I'm going to see for myself what that feels like.
This whole pond is full of prawns, 600,000, 700,000 prawns. This here is a sluice, I guess, of the drain. The water's just going to rush underneath the road here. And it'll all end up flushing down into that net there. Then it's just our job to get them out of the net and into these tubs. They're actually quite worried about me getting all the little spikes from the prawns in my legs. So they're just wrapping feed bags around my legs to protect them. A little bit nervous. Make me look like a bit of a turkey. I'm going to need an ointment when I finish today. The smell putrid. Oh my God.
One poor guy draws the short straw and dives down to open this sluice at the end of the pond. Over 500,000 frenzied prawns are funneled into the nets. I'm going to have a go at the hard labour of prawn harvesting. As the prawns rush in, we catch them in the nets.
The bags probably only weigh 15 plus kilos, but you're trying to lift them over shoulder height, which is really hard work.
Thailand exports hundreds of thousands of tonnes of prawns each year, providing jobs for thousands of people across the country.
No one else is groaning. Ow. Yep, there's a reason why they're wearing gloves. You don't actually see any prawns. You just sort of feel them. Ow. Jesus.
I think I'll stick to pig farming.
These people are all here from the buyer's company. They're actually sorting them on the ground here rather than sorting them once they get to the factory. So once they get there, they can be processed, peeled, or whatever they're doing with them straight away. Oh, number one, number two? So the bigger ones are better. Even I can see the difference between those. Could they go to Australia, these prawns?
Australia, UK,
Right.
yeah, and also in America, USA.
Right.
Yeah.
With a revenue of $3 billion a year, the industry here is a hungry beast. So are the millions of prawns that are fed 5 times a day, every day. This is the murky heart of the problem. Voracious eaters, prawns are fattened up on feed high in protein. So where does the protein come from? It's almost impossible to find out, but some of it comes from the indiscriminate dredging of the ocean floor for anything and everything. They call it trash fish, a terrible name for a devastating practice that I'm about to witness firsthand.
I'm in the Andaman Sea, which is off the west coast of Thailand. Behind these islands that you see there, there's about a dozen fishing boats. They're all trawlers. They've been out for 4, 5, 6 days at a time, and they gather as many fish as they can before taking them back to port. I'm hoping to get aboard one of those boats and see what's actually in the net.
It's illegal to trawl within 3 kilometres of the shore in Thailand. So I'm surprised when we come across a fishing boat only about 500 metres out. Let's see if we can get on board.
I'm on. It's a much smaller boat than I was expecting. Oh, I've got a net out the back at the moment, so hopefully we'll get to see that brought up.
Many fishing boats here are unregistered with no licence to fish, but that doesn't stop them trawling the ocean floor for anything they can find. From what I can tell, this is a bottom trawler. The net has 2 big weights on either side, keeping it down on the seabed as they sweep up and down the coast repeatedly. We've arrived just in time to see them bringing up their catch. It's jellyfish season, and at first glance, it seems that's all there is.
They're getting stung?
These people are used to it.
Right.
They'll be exported as food to China, Japan, and South Korea.
So, Jesus.
Once the jellyfish are removed, the rest of the catch is revealed.
The sea urchins, broken starfish.
It's a heartbreaking sight.
Whoa, look at that just came up behind me. Oh my God. I said that the end of the net's just been tipped behind my legs. And it's, geez, it doesn't flash. Fish. Sea slugs. Bits of shell. Would this be normal, you reckon?
Yeah, this is quite normal. So I guess not even 30% of these fish can be actually sold to people.
Not even 30%.
With only a few fish big enough to be sold in the market, the rest is called trash fish, an indiscriminate collection of marine creatures trawled from the ocean floor.
This is trash fish. Horrible name, trash fish. A whole ecosystem sitting in the tubs around me. Pretty much everything off the bottom of the ocean floor.
So this is definitely bottom trawling.
Definitely bottom trawling. There's a crab. And definitely getting pretty much anything of any size, whatever animal protein from the ocean they can get. Some of these fish are juveniles. They could grow into decent sized adult fish and be sold for a proper amount of money rather than just being sold as trash fish. But the reality is today's catch, and most of these little bits and pieces are just going to be crunched up, cooked up and turned into fish flour for prawn farming.
The ocean is being destroyed here by the relentless fishing of so many species. including juvenile fish not yet old enough to reproduce. The fishery here is close to total collapse.
This is Australia exporting environmental degradation, exporting the problem of fisheries management to another nation who has some rules in place but no resources to police it.
We are all playing a part in this destruction when we eat this type of prawn.
I saw about 6 trawlers well within 3 kilometres of the shore, but in reality what they're doing is clear felling the ocean floor. The area that these things need to breed is being destroyed, the juveniles are being killed, and all in the name of fish flour to feed to farmed fish and prawns. I actually want to find out now how they get turned into fish meal. And apparently there's factories dotted all around Thailand and one not far from here.
I don't have to wait long to see the next stage in this disturbing practice.
Jesus, it's unbelievable.
After seeing for myself here in Thailand how the ocean floor is continuously trawled for anything and everything, we discover a boat unloading a huge hold full of rotting marine creatures, known as trash fish. It's this trash fish that is used in the feed for farmed prawns.
This is unbelievable. The hold of this boat could have 30 tonnes of trash fish. It doesn't even look like it's properly sorted. There's crabs and all sorts of stuff in there, squid. They're stamping on it to mash it down into the basket.
We found out that they had just come back from trawling up and down the coast for 15 days. In the Gulf of Thailand, more than 60% of everything caught in the ocean ends up as trash fish.
Makes me sick, actually.
The trash fish is piled onto trucks waiting to take it to the fish meal factory. I want to find out how these truckloads of trash fish are used to make prawn feed. My translator has arranged for us to visit a fish meal factory, but getting inside is not easy.
Let's hope we can get inside.
Once the owner, Madam Chok, understands that we aren't government inspectors, she does allow us inside.
Wow.
Wow. So these are all ready-made fish flour.
So this powder is exactly what we saw in the truck in dry powdered form. Hot.
The trucks dump their load of trash fish into a large pit.
Oh, I see, yep. Right, so there's an auger underneath that shifts it. It's like a big spiral metal bit. That spiral will move the fish up into the tanks.
It then passes through a series of ovens and dryers that turn the massive marine life we saw being caught into a fine, dry powder.
I nearly gagged when we got to the pit where the trucks unload. It's a very modern factory. How long have you been making fish meal?
จริงๆแล้วเปิดมา20 กว่าปีแล้ว
Are there less fish generally now, or is it a seasonal thing?
โอ้ยเปลี่ยนเยอะเมื่อก่อนนี่ตอน20เมื่อก่อนที่ตอน20 ปีที่ผ่านมาเนี่ยปลาเยอะปลามากแล้วเราต้องทำ2 เครื่องแต่ 4-5 ปีมาแล้วที่น้อยค่อยๆน้อยลงมาเรื่อยๆแต่ปีนี้น้อยที่สุด
Does it concern you that there might be a permanent drop in the number of fish?
ไม่แน่ใจเพราะว่าตอนนี้นะลม
It's clear that for Madam Chok, less fish simply means less profit. And with the fish running out, she is moving on to something else.
เราก็มองว่าปลานี่มันไม่ยั่งยืนนะแล้วก็กลัวเดี๋ยวคนแถวเนี้ยป้าเอาคนหมู่บ้านแถวเนี้ยมาทำงานตอนนี้ป้าทำโรงงานน้ำมันปาล์มอยู่นะ
I'd like to see her being this environmental hero, saying we're going to make sure that the trawlers only use big nets, we're going to go further offshore. The reality is she takes anything that comes through the door and makes money out of it. And that is a global responsibility. It's not just her responsibility.
So trash fish trawled from here is turned into fish meal, then sold to companies who mix it up with other ingredients into prawn feed. This is fed to farmed prawns, which are then harvested, sorted and exported to Australia and end up in our curries and on our pizzas. What's happening in Thailand is devastating, yet most of us know nothing about it. So what are we doing about this? One international body which assesses the impacts of fishing is the Marine Stewardship Council, or MSC. If certain criteria are met, the MSC gives a fishery a blue tick, certifying it as sustainable. In theory, this means fishing can continue indefinitely without depleting fish populations. It's an expensive and rigorous process to be certified, and there are still only a few MSC certified fisheries around the world.
85% of the prawns we produce in Australia are wild caught, and I want to go out on a prawn trawler to see exactly how they harvest them. I guess what I want to find out is, does Australia actually produce a sustainable prawn?
The Northern Prawn Fishery spans 6,000 kilometres from Cape York in the east to the Kimberleys in the west, and in 2012 was officially certified by the MSC. I want to find out what this actually means. The fishermen here have made huge efforts to get the MSC tick, including limiting the number of boats and the time of year that they fish.
This massive expanse of ocean behind me is the Northern Prawn Fishery, 750,000 square kilometres of it. There's 50 boats like this trawling for prawns through this water for about 6 months of the year. You've also in this water got not just prawns, you've got things like dugongs and shark and turtles, and they're trying not to catch that stuff. There's also all sorts of other marine life. I'll be really keen to see what comes up in the nets tonight.
When trawling with this kind of net, it's inevitable that other fish, or bycatch, are also caught.
Are all boats designed for people who are smaller than me?
In recent years, this has been minimised by only fishing at night.
I got sea view.
So I grab an afternoon nap before getting up at sunset in time to see how the trawling works.
Hey Matthew, how'd you sleep? Did you get some?
Yeah, I did actually.
Turn these hydraulics on and get the nets ready to go in the water. See those aluminium frames there, halfway down the net?
The skipper shows me what else they use to prevent catching the bigger creatures.
That stops all big fish, stingrays, shovel-nosed sharks, turtles.
And that's what would be called a turtle excluder.
We call it a TED, turtle excluder device.
They're pulling in the two big nets.
After hearing about all the effort to reduce the bycatch, it's surprising that as the first catch comes up, there's barely a prawn in sight to the untrained eye. Once the prawns are sorted, I can see there are plenty there after all. Everything else is called bycatch. By the time the prawns are sorted and the bycatch is sent back to sea down a chute, it's often dead. In the last 15 years, the fishery here has reduced bycatch by 50%. If it has improved by that much, I can't help imagining what it used to look like. Because of the turtle excluding devices, catching turtles now hardly ever happens. But a smaller test net doesn't have an excluder, and at one point during the night, it catches a turtle. We managed to get him out unharmed, and it's good to see him swim off into the night. Nowadays, very few large marine animals are harmed during prawn trawling.
They did 4 spills last night, which means they brought up the nets 4 times. This is the 4th time actually happening now. Now I guess what I'm surprised at is the larger proportion of the catch is still fish. The prawns are in the minority. There's still bycatch here, but this is considered, you know, as sustainable as this fishery can be. Seeing the bycatch reminds me that prawns were once luxury food. We only ate them for special occasions. I look at this and I wonder if prawns should only be a luxury food. We shouldn't expect to eat them every day. This is the most sustainable way of doing it, and it still causes damage. Here you go, there.
I want to find out more about how prawn trawling here is improving. So I'm going to see someone who has been fishing here for decades.
Prawns aren't the most sustainable seafood ever, but you guys have got the MSC tick.
We were the first tropical wild-caught fishery for prawns on the planet to get that certification. It's a massive fishery, and our footprint is so small on this fishery. We've reduced the boat numbers from 300 down to 50, so there's a 600% decrease in bycatch immediately, and probably another 30 to 40% by avoiding trawling in the daytime and by these other devices.
But you're still going to make those little incremental improvements to keep the certification. I guess they're always looking for you to prove that you haven't affected the ecosystem.
We're evolving all the time. I've been a part of this fishery all my working life, and I've seen changes year on year, and I'm extremely proud of the way we go about our business today. And the purchasers know they're getting something that's sustainable and will be there for years to come.
However sustainable these prawns may be, consumers will really only buy them if they taste good too. So I need to find out how they stack up in flavour compared to imported prawns. And I have a plan about how to do that.
Prawns, mate? Can't give them away.
I've been prawn trawling up here in the Northern Prawn Fishery. But before I leave the Northern Territory, I'm keen to compare my wild-caught, sustainable prawns that were snap frozen on the boat in a taste test with frozen, farmed, imported ones.
Just got off this prawn trawler this morning and really keen to find out what the locals think about the prawns. So I'm going to do 2 types. I've got some from the local supermarket, from overseas, and some straight off the boat. See if they can taste the difference. Hey guys, who wants a prawn? You want prawns? Sorry, some prawns, mate? No worries, enjoy the volleyball match. Can't give them away. You want to try something? All right.
And it smells delicious.
It does smell delicious. I want there's 2 different sorts. Wouldn't mind you having a crack at them. Have one of those first. I want you to tell me the difference between that one and then grab one of these. And there may not be a difference.
It's a nice one.
This one's a better flavour?
Yep.
Prawns, anybody?
Delicious.
This is kind of a bit more meaty and juicy and yummy.
Juicy and yummy. Prawns?
That one's sweeter, I think.
That's sweeter?
Yeah.
I like the big one.
You like the big ones? Texture and flavour, or just...
I like the flavour better.
I like the taste that's in that one.
In the big one? In the wild? So that's a wild caught prawn, local prawn. Which one do you prefer?
Yep,
First one?
I like the first one.
We caught these last night, just 3 hours off the coast here. You can see by the plates how it went. Anyone who went for seconds went for the larger local prawns, the tiger prawns, and pretty much everyone preferred them.
So the Australian MSC ticked prawns win on both sustainability and taste. But how do we know at the fish shop which prawns are sustainable? I'm going to see for myself if I can buy these MSC ticked prawns anywhere in Australia's biggest city.
I'm in a shopping centre, not my natural environment, but this is where the fish shops are. I just want to ask some questions about your prawns. I just wanted to find out, have you got any MSC ticked prawns?
Is that the preservative one?
The preservative one? No, it's a Marine Stewardship Council ticked prawns. It's like a certified sustainable prawn.
The sustainable prawn.
Yeah.
They are sustainable prawn.
They are sustainable prawn. They're not certified sustainable by the MSC?
I'm not sure.
Not sure, that's okay. He said they're all sustainable, which is kind of like a motherhood statement. People like to say that about everything these days, but no independent auditing of sustainability for the wild prawns that they've got in the window. See if I can find something else with. I'm just looking for MSC ticked prawns, Marine Stewardship Council approved prawns. You don't know what they are? Do people ever ask about sustainability of... No? Not at all.
Oh, I'll tell you maybe once every 6 months.
Oh, really? They've never heard of MSC ticked prawns either. Well, I've just come from the Coles seafood counter. I asked the same question. Any MSC ticked prawns? No idea what I was talking about there either. I'm still on the hunt for these MSC ticked prawns. I'm in Bondi, in Sydney, and to see what sort of prawns they've got in the fish shops here. I just wonder if you've got MSC certified prawns.
Yes.
You
This
do?
one's here.
Great. Do you know whereabouts they're from?
Yeah, these are South Australian Green King prawns.
Yep. Have you got them labelled as MSC
No.
certified? You don't?
No, people haven't been asking for them.
Right.
It's not in their vocabulary yet.
Right. So do you think it'd be better to have more labelling?
It would be a good idea, because then they can have a more informed choice.
But you don't actually put anything on there at the moment. You could say these are certified sustainable green prawns.
You got me there.
Yeah.
You got me there.
But you don't actually do it?
I should practice what I preach.
Well, that was great. That place actually had the MSC ticked prawns, but they're not labelled as such, so no one would know.
It's been really hard to find these MSC ticked prawns in any normal fish shop. But I finally get a tip-off that one place I can find them is a small restaurant in the inner west of Sydney called Fish & Co, run by a chef called Tom Kine.
Tom, is it? Yeah, very well. Well, tell me about this MSC certification, because I see you've got the logo.
We're the first independent restaurant in New South Wales to get full chain of custody, and we've got that for 9 different species.
Tom explains that chain of custody means total traceability from ocean to plate. So a customer can trace a fish right back to the boat it was caught in and the captain who caught it.
When I've been on this boat, they've packed on the boat and frozen on the boat. So the box you're getting is the same one that I put in the hold of the boat?
Absolutely. So the whole point of having the MSC certification is that it really is traceable. If you spoke to the captain and said what was the log for that day, at some point someone could trace that and say Matthew Evans caught these prawns.
Anyone can sell MSC ticked prawns, but to use the logo on the restaurant, you have to be audited every year.
It's very much a science-based certification process. It's not just because you want it, it's not just because you paid for it, you have to prove it. The standards are incredibly rigorous.
At Tom's restaurant, I know exactly what fish I'm getting, where it's from, and how it was caught. And the MSC tick also tells me it's sustainable.
This is our special for tonight, so we've got some grilled prawns with an Asian salad and chili caramel.
But what Tom's doing is rare. Most of the time, there is a labelling problem across all our seafood. So what is the law on seafood labelling? On wet fish, that is uncooked seafood, the laws are clear that it must say what it is and where it's from. The real loophole is on cooked seafood sold at restaurants or takeaways, which accounts for more than half of the seafood we eat. It can simply be sold as fish and chips or crumbed prawns, and that's not good enough. When we order prawns, for example, in restaurants or takeaways, we rarely get any information about where these prawns are from. So I want to persuade a restaurant or takeaway chain to swap out their imported prawns for a more sustainable option. If it costs a bit more, let's see if people are prepared to pay more. Where better to start than my old friends at Domino's, the biggest pizza company in Australia.
Hi, it's Tracy from Domino's Pizza. Sorry I missed your call, but if you could leave your name and number, I'll...
Yeah, g'day Tracy, it's Matthew Evans. I had this really good idea I'd love to share with you guys at Domino's about using certified sustainable prawns on your menu. Give me a call back if you get this. So that was the PR for Domino's. If I could get certified sustainable prawns into Domino's, I'd be getting certified sustainable prawns into just about every town in Australia, you know, into just about every second home in Australia. Hope she calls me back.
Hi, it's Tracy from
Matthew
Domino's
Evans calling again. Just ringing up about the certified sustainable prawn thing. I left a message yesterday. Give me a call back, that'd be fantastic. Right, Tracy, we'll try you again. Still keen to talk to you about the prawn idea I had, substituting. Yeah, g'day Tracy, it's Matthew Evans calling again. Send her a text too. Really keen if you could give me a call back, bye.
Geez, this is tough. But I've got an idea. If they won't agree to see me, I'll just go and see them.
For weeks I've been trying to get hold of the mob at Domino's Pizzas and no one's calling me back. So what I've decided to do, I'm here in Brizzy, head office. I want to deliver an Australian prawn pizza and see if I can talk to the CEO about putting them on his menu. Nervous about doing this. It's not the sort of thing I normally do in Tasmania, show up to a big corporation, try to talk to the head honcho.
After no joy calling Domino's on the phone, I've decided to turn up unannounced at their head office with a sustainable prawn pizza for the CEO.
Hello. How are you going?
Good. Formo farmer.
It is.
How are you?
I'm really good. I've got a pizza I'd like to deliver to Don, if that's okay.
John, okay. Just bear with me a moment.
It's Matthew Evans. Good, how are you?
Hi, I'm Tracy.
Tracy! I think I've been leaving messages for you. Tracy.
Yeah, I haven't got any messages.
Oh, that's okay. I'm here to talk to you guys about sustainable prawns on your pizzas.
All right, well, do we mind turning this off so we can have a chat about this? And then we can turn it back on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be a little rude of me to turn up uninvited, but at least I'm finally meeting Tracy face to face.
I brought you an example of a delicious Australian prawn pizza. Have a smell of that.
But after a little chat, it's clear my idea for them to use sustainable prawns on their pizzas is going nowhere.
I think she was pretty unimpressed that I showed up with the pizza, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to hear from her again. At least we tried. Rang, emailed, texted, showed up at head office. Couldn't do more than that. Anyone want a piece of pizza?
My search continues to find someone who is prepared to talk about it. All I want is to start a conversation. After yet more ringing around, I finally found a pizza chain in Sydney prepared to talk prawns with me.
This is a silly idea we'd like to have a look at.
Brilliant, thank you so much, Tony.
It's a start at least. I've been knocked back by Domino's, by Pizza Hut, by Crust. I even tried Sumo Salad and Sizzler. Luckily, these guys, they've got 7 branches around Sydney and they're willing to engage in a conversation about what they're using. I might even be able to convince them to swap out their current prawns for something better. This might be a slightly posher pizza place than Domino's and smaller in reach. But it seems this is where we have to start.
So in our freezer at the moment, we've got a couple of options. This is certainly the one we try to ask our wholesaler to get.
Yep.
I believe that might be a Malaysian one, and we just find that a better quality.
Product of Malaysia.
Yeah. They're all imported, always imported. We just ask for a particular style of prawn, and we want the best price.
The sustainability aspect, I guess, is what I'm really interested in, and the truth in labelling, knowing exactly where your produce comes from. Ideally, trying to use something that's more sustainable than another option.
How an Australian great prawn stands up compared to these would be interesting. If it goes, oh, that's so much better.
I think you'll be amazed at the amount of flavour that comes out.
Yeah.
Now, to get peeled Australian prawns, it's not a cheap exercise. But what I would hope is that you're going to pass that cost on.
We're not at the cheaper end of the pizza market. Yeah. People are open to it, I hope.
Do you have the capacity to do a trial?
Yeah.
You do?
We can put a little bit of marketing behind it and come up with the product and give it a launch and see how it goes. Have you got any good truffles on your farm at the moment? You can...
Truffles, no.
That'll help get the price down.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you making the time to see me. Well, that was fantastic. Dan and Tony were really receptive. They got some practical issues, but I reckon we're one step closer to seeing if customers will actually pay more for a sustainable prawn pizza. The problem is far deeper than just prawns. It is, in fact, all seafood. I'm in the largest fish market in the Southern Hemisphere. Most of the buyers here are wholesalers who sell the fish onto restaurants. Here, all the fish are labelled. The buyers know what they are getting, and this information will arrive at the back door of the restaurant. But then comes the problem. Can I just get some prawn cutlets, please? Takeaway, thanks. On cooked seafood, there is no law to tell the customer what they are eating or where it's from. Can I get one of those little platters with the lobster and the oysters and stuff on it, please? I think there's a simple fix. Better labelling. Do you know where the prawns are from? Australia. Right. I want all of us to have the information to make a more informed choice on all the fish and seafood we buy. Can I get a sushi mix, please? To try to get the ball rolling and make this actually happen, I'm organising a get-together with a select group of influential big fish from all sides of the seafood industry. And I have a plan to throw some fish on the table to show them the problems with seafood labelling. Behind me I've got all these real movers and shakers in the seafood industry, and I really want to talk to them about labelling. And by the end of this meeting, I'd love to come to some kind of consensus. We'll see how we go. First thing I've got to do is get them to sit down there. Hey guys, do you mind if we just grab seats? That'd be great, thank you. Thanks for coming, guys. Some things I went and bought this morning. Lobster platter, so I presume it's got lobster on there.
What's the lobster, John? Yeah.
Prawns, these were called just crumbed prawns from memory, or prawn cutlets. We have 2 hours before the fish goes off. In that time, my goal is to get everyone to agree that all seafood must be labelled by law to say what it is, where it is from, and how it was caught or farmed. This was sold as fish and chips. One of the main issues is the difference in labelling laws between raw and cooked seafood.
These two here should have been labelled with species and country of origin. This one, because it was cooked, was provided an exemption. It went all the way to the back door of the restaurant, and then we chose to give the exemption to the restaurateur, providing that to the public. I can't see the benefit
So that
of
species information is getting to people accept in the form of ready-to-eat cooked food.
From an environmental perspective, you have a right to know what you're eating. When we're talking about fish caught in the wild, it does come in all these different species. To do the right thing by the future, we need a system.
The problem comes back to the restaurant sector. One person can say that it's from Darwin and they've chosen to, say this is where it's from, and the other person next door doesn't have to.
The more information, the better. We've got a bloody good product, so we should be telling everyone about it.
In the first half hour, everyone agrees the current system has a problem.
You cannot possibly make that judgment. We cannot proceed with unsustainable.
Misleading advertising.
As we reach the halfway mark, it's clear not everyone agrees with what to do about it.
All I'm saying is that this tsunami of information is going to make it really difficult for consumers and probably say, well, I'll go the chicken instead.
That's the one bit I disagree with. I have to say, I think the more informed the consumer is, the more confidence you'll give them.
And all we're going to do is scare people away from consuming seafood.
But to be honest, John, the stuff I've seen on certain farms, stuff I would not eat, stuff I would eat, they both go to the same factory, get put in the same bag, and why shouldn't we know what we're eating?
I'm not disagreeing.
Where's the tipping point of it?
As time ticks on, the debate twists and turns through the labyrinth of labelling issues.
Fish fall. It's a missed opportunity.
How all sharks are called flake.
And flake initially was either school or gummy shark. We have let it develop to become just shark.
The issue of whether we are eating the right type of fish.
You've got 70, 80 species being caught in one fishery, but people only wanting 5. We've really got to sell that story about why you should eat those other, and convince them that it's the same. It's very similar type of eating quality.
And how the European Union is way ahead of us with compulsory labelling on all seafood.
Call me an old-fashioned patriot, but I don't see why an Australian consumer who cares about their fish and cares about the future should have any less rights than a Frenchman or an Italian.
Okay, well, look, if we can encourage...
I'm not saying all are bad, I'll be very clear about that.
But with only a few minutes left, just as the fish starts to smell, I sense a consensus could be emerging.
Consumers want and deserve to be told what species they're eating and where it's from.
It's so fundamental that we have transparent labelling because it is the cornerstone of sustainability. It doesn't fix everything, but you can't fix anything without it.
I agree that that we should be providing as much information as accessibly and as openly as we can.
I'm the CEO of Australia's second largest fishery, and the best thing about today for me, is that I'm here with a restaurateur, someone from Greenpeace and a Green senator, and I haven't disagreed with anything they've said, and they've all talked about the strength of Australian fisheries management and about promoting Australian product, and that to me is fantastic.
So we're all on board except John's in the lifeboat.
Right, mate, I'm just trying to be a man of the people. I mean, it's...
The man of the people, you've got to protect their rights.
That's what I'm
And they have a right to know.
I'm almost out of time. As the clock ticks to the end of our debate and the fish will not last any longer, I put pressure on the politician to turn this fishy furor into real-life legislation.
Look, I don't think too much information can hurt. The best thing to do would be actually to try and get this off into a Senate inquiry so we can actually have a look at all this information that's in front of us and call all the stakeholders in to give evidence on this. And I'll take this to Canberra and quite happy to put it on the table at the right committee.
We'll collect all the business cards from around the table because I reckon you've got a whole bunch of people you can have at your Senate committee hearing. Sure. Anyway, feel free to help yourself to these if you like. It was actually really quite complex, but that really disparate group of very influential people seemed to reach consensus. We want better labelling, and the Senator reckons he can get us a committee hearing in the Senate about labelling. So we're actually making really good progress. So I've only just got going on my fishy journey. And I know I've still got plenty more to find out before I front a Senate inquiry. Next time, I'm going to tackle another iconic Australian fish, the shark. Oh, there we go.
I think it's sold as flake. We don't label, and it's something that we probably should address.
Why don't we know when we're eating it?
Probably a bit like eating panda, only fishier.
But what I know is that there's better fish and better choices to make.
I'll follow up with my pizza chain about our plan to swap the prawns on their pizzas.
We want to see what our customers think.
And crucially, I'll gather more heavyweight support for the campaign to make us all more informed about the fish in our dish.
Have you ever been to a restaurant that serves mammal?
Whether you like it or not, you're going to be part of that parliamentary inquiry.
Join me next time as we continue to ask,
what's the catch?